Welcome, friends of the podcast. So let's go with our sponsor, Blue Crown Aquatics. So I got some deviously hidden information. You have to be in the depths of their Facebook feed to catch any details like this. But Robbie Chan softly leaked details this week. He's going to be bringing to us what, Jimmy?
I don't know. What?
What? Don't you follow the... Oh, that's right. You're still working through social media. Well, for those of you that don't follow Blue Crown Aquatics on Facebook, they're going to be bringing in betas on top of their already award-winning shrimp.
That is right. I knew that.
You did?
I did know that.
I feel like you're just playing with me now.
I'm not playing with you.
All right. Well, clearly he's been messaging Robbie Chan directly then.
He's going to do some high-end betas.
Extreme high-end betas.
Extreme high-end betas.
There's some great leaks that he's shown us. We don't know what there's coming in yet, but be prepared. Not only do you get award-winning shrimp from Blue Crown Aquatics, but betas are coming soon. To let you guys know about our offer, go to bluecrownaquatics.com and check out their award-winning shrimp and use offer code Aquarium Guys with an S and get free shipping.
Free shipping? That is not possible.
So free shipping, you think on Amazon, it comes with Amazon Prime shipping. No, this is fish shipping anywhere in the United States for nothing.
Fish shipping is expensive as all get out.
So, and I think they also screwed up. If you look on there and use that promo code, you can also get next day shipping for nothing.
What?
Yeah. Now, Robbie's going to hear this. He's going to change it.
Don't tell him that. No.
I don't know, but get on there before they take it away. BlueCrownAquatics.com. Offer code Aquarium Guys.
Good job, Rob. I can't believe you got through that without stuttering.
I know. I need more caffeine. So next bit is, of course, our charity of choice, which is the Ohio Fish Rescue. And the Ohio Fish Rescue, they just got done. I mentioned a little bit last week about rescuing even some native species in a local pond that's going to be torn down. So certainly check out the YouTube videos on that. But they're also continuing to add more and more tanks. Every video I see on there is just more and more expansion with these guys. So certainly check them out. OhioFishRescue.com. And the whole mantra with the Ohio Fish Rescue is there isn't a humane society for fish. So they want to be that and give big fish a bigger home. People that buy a pacu, decide that it works in a 10-gallon tank, where's it supposed to go? Well, don't flush it down your toilet. And certainly don't put it in a lake, river, or stream. Call Ohio Fish Rescue. And if you want to, go to their website, OhioFishRescue.com. You can donate money by using PayPal, Patreon. They also have a GoFundMe, but buy a T-shirt.
Buy a T-shirt, call them up, give them some love. And like Rob said, don't take your pacu and flush it down the toilet because they're too dang big to flush down the toilet. And the thing that you don't know, you just told me a secret about Robbie. He's going to be doing high-end betas. Did you know what Big Rich is going to be doing?
What's Big Rich going to do?
He's going to be doing hair care products.
Hair care products.
He's going to be doing mullets on YouTube. He's going to be selling some hair gel and some stuff. I'm pretty excited about it. I have not told him about it yet.
See, we're trying to bribe him into using this new hair volume shampoo.
Oh, my Lord.
So we'll see. Hopefully talk him into that soon. But until then, at least give him a call and tell them that you love them. 216-773-0407.
And he's got to get on this before Billy Ray Cyrus catches wind of this because he will step up and he will be trying to steal all his business.
Hey, they got mustache products. They need mullet products.
Mullet products,
That's
for
what
sure.
they need. All right, let's kick that podcast, guys.
Welcome to the Aquarium Guys podcast with your hosts, Jim Colby and Rob Zolson.
All right, guys, welcome to the Aquarium Guys podcast.
Coming live at you
from Studio B.
Studio B, which is Rob's basement.
My basement.
And Adam, where are you at today?
Studio O.
What's that stand for?
Office.
Office.
So I'm Rob Zolson. This is Jim Colby.
Hey, everybody.
And Adam El-Nashar.
Hey, guys.
So today we have a special guest. We have from Cleveland, Ohio, if I did my math correctly. It is Dave from Something Fishy. How are you doing, buddy?
Great. Thanks, guys, for having me.
I appreciate you having us on. We actually got a hold of you 2 days ago, and you were kind enough to join us last minute. Normally we have a lot more pre-scheduled, but you were eager to jump right in and help us out.
I try.
So we were recommended to chat with you because you have quite a bit of expertise in African cichlids, and I've been told that you have had numerous trips to Africa to try to find and hand select rare varieties. Is that not true?
Actually, I've gone there diving. I've gone to Malawi and Tanganyika. You do not collect in those lakes. I collected in South America when I was in the Amazon. But in Africa, you can't, because some of those fish are deep, 50, 100 feet. So you can't just bring those up to the surface, catch up with a net or
That's
whatever.
Insane.
So Yeah, I mean, even like some of the Zyarpentosis could be like 200 feet deep. So yeah, you're just not catching fish that easily, and then put them in your little bucket and ship them back. So it's like a 3 days of flying also. So it's very grueling as the trip getting there and the trip getting back. But it's you learn about where their habitat is, and it's exploring, getting videos, pictures, and collaborating with other cichlid experts like Ad Connings and Pam Chin, and people of the lake.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and we're going to do a deep dive on a lot of your cichlid experience. But I do have to do some housekeeping. We've had a few different questions throughout the week, and I just want to remind people that we do have a giveaway for Blue Crown Aquatics.
Sweet.
So go to our website, aquariumguyspodcast.com, and on the bottom of the website, you'll see a giveaway link. Click on that, sign up. It just needs, I believe, your name, number, address, so we can know where to send it. And it's for 4 $25 gift cards to Blue Crown Aquatics.
If I do my math right, that is about $1,000.
Yeah, thank God you don't do math.
What? What? Oh, it's $100. I'm sorry.
$1,000? No.
No, Robbie just
Try again.
Robbie just had a heart attack.
I did. I'm like, now we're going to have to pull more money out of our pockets. What's going on here?
Yeah, not good.
But no, certainly sign up at the bottom of the website, and we've had a lot of people sign up so far, and certainly deliver us questions, but also questions directly to our email address this week. So to dive into that, we have Evan, and start from the top. I found your podcast this week and listened to the Tips and Hacks episode. Don't know. Jimmy's looking at me like all smiley right now.
That's because
he's not about to compliment you on your didgeridoo work.
What?
Right?
No. I was just gonna say that particular episode we pulled out of our butt. It was excellent.
Yes, it was great. We didn't pull out of our butts, sir. We did
some homework.
We did quite a bit of homework to build those lists. But again, back to Evan's email. I was wondering about making your own sponge filters. I heard from one of you talking about it and getting foam from a Hobby Lobby, which sounds like a great idea and much more effective than buying elsewhere. However, I was wondering how to cut the hole in it and put a tubed uplift tube for it. I can't remember which one of you were talking about it. Also, with making the uplift tube, is there any special ideas for that? I have recently purchased a couple of Swiss tropical filters and love the jet lifter tube in them, which flows a lot of water. Trying to figure out how to make them on my own rather than purchase them. So that was yours, Jim.
I've done a lot of sponge filters. I used to purchase my sponge filters from Steve Rubicki, and then watch some stuff, talk to some people about how to do it. One of his questions was, how do you make that hole? And somebody turned me on to this, and it works really easy. If you take yourself a 1/2 inch of copper tubing, all you have to do is just sharpen the edge all the way around, and you can take that copper tubing, put it in the middle of your sponge, and just spin it with your fingers real lightly and push it down, and that thing cuts it like a knife through butter. And it works really well. And I use that a lot, and then I just go to the local hardware store and pick up 1/2 inch PVC, cut it to length, and make it work for myself like that.
Kind of like an 1880 wart remover.
Pretty accurate, yeah. Wow. They're already hammering on me for being old.
So what about the tube? I got questions about. He used the term uplift tube.
Yeah, Swiss Tropicals. That's actually, I do buy all my shrimp foam from them, because you can order the different size, the 20 psi, the 30 psi, or I'm sorry, PPI, which is PSI. I'm so stupid. PPI, and that's just the size of the little tiny holes in the foam. And what they have, what they call an uplift tube, which is basically just PVC that they've created to bring the water up through the tube. And the Swiss Tropicals has probably got the best price that I found for that particular foam. And that foam is a real high end. It's made just for aquatics. And with shrimp, you got to be a little more careful when you're using different foams.
But you can't beat just stealing it out of your grandpa's Cadillac.
I do not take it out. Rob's accused me of years of just taking it from a seat cushion or something like that, and now he's going to get punched in the throat again.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
All right, so enough of the questions we got. So,
does your mom have any more questions, Rob?
That is not my mom. It's Evan.
Okay.
I'll even go with the first initial, Evan B.
Evan B.
Not my mom.
All right.
Yep. So I just want to remind you guys, you can also join us for Discord if you want to join questions. What we do is we actually answer them live on the spot. Discord's an excellent client for chat and voice. So if you want to talk to us, great place to do it as well. So if you want more immediate responses, otherwise we love emails. We love seeing them in the giveaway submissions. Certainly just, whatever you're comfortable with. And you can also call us.
I got a great email sent to me, and I didn't bring it today. I'm going to bring it next week and stuff, and I'll read that one out, because Rob's always getting all the emails. I got an email. I'm bringing it next week. We'll talk about that. I'm pretty excited about it.
And are you going to leave this poor listener waiting a whole week just because you forgot it?
No, I didn't forget it. I had another thing that I wanted to do today. You young kids always want to do a shout out. I want to do a shout out to my whoever.
All right, now we're going to do a shout out just for you.
Well, so let me tell you about my day today.
Okay.
My wife and I went down to Minneapolis, 200-mile drive for us. We go to the chiropractor down there. The chiropractor that we go to is very specialized.
For rheumatoid?
For rheumatoid. For scoliosis.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And anyway, he's also the chiropractor for the Minnesota Vikings. And today he grew me a great compliment, I think. And he said, he compared me to one of the players. And he goes, "You're nothing like him."
What player? That's what matters here. What player?
One of the big fat guys up
Oh,
front.
well, thank goodness. You're nothing like
He
him.
goes, "You're nothing like him. You're fatter and uglier." And he said, and so I'm gonna take that as a win because I got compared to one of the football players.
Yeah, you worked your way up to be compared before you wouldn't even be in the same
I'm
vocabulary.
talking about comparing me to a professional athlete. So I was pretty excited. But so we spent some time down in Minneapolis. We stopped over to IKEA. Oh my God! Spent 3 hours in IKEA.
How was the Swedish meatballs?
Swedish meatballs were delicious. And what?
I feel like
you have a question.
You ate those so you can bulk up to compare better
Yes.
to the Minnesota Vikings.
To the Minnesota
next time.
Vikings. So after we did the IKEA thing and that, we came back home and I'm listening on the radio and I heard something pretty exciting. I can hear Adam sighing. He's bored with this story already.
That was him hiccuping.
Oh, was
he
it?
drank before the episode.
I did not drink.
Adam's drunk again. Oh, Lord. So what I heard, and I'm very excited, I want to do a shout out to my friends. This week, it's the 50th anniversary of the gang from Sesame Street. So I want to say hi to Bert and Ernie
Oh my God.
and Cookie Monster and all those guys. I'm just really excited about this.
Where you now?
Yeah, but here's the problem I had with Sesame Street. I watched it as a kid. Yes, there was TV when I was a kid, Rob. So don't sit there and nod your head that I didn't watch.
No, it was just started in living color was the
Oh,
advertisements.
bite me. So when I'm listening to this and stuff, I'm thinking, what would make this more realistic is let's update this whole Sesame Street thing to 50 years old. Let's make them their age. So I'm going to come up with a new Sesame Street thing. I'm going to try to get the
Whoa.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
So what they're gonna do, right? Let me guess on this one.
What?
Right? So you're gonna see like Bert and Ernie as an old gay couple driving in a car on Sundays, real slow, and then you're gonna see like Cookie Monster, fat like William Bradford,
he'd be
saying
dead with diabetes.
talk about diabetes.
Well, diabetes, yeah,
right.
exactly. So I want to make this a reality show. We all know the Count, right? The vampire-looking dude. So he's been diagnosed with OCD. And he's now suing the Big Bang Theory because he just now realized that they stole his identity and gave it to Sheldon. And so I think that would be kind of cool. And like you said, Cookie Monster, we're going to give him diabetes.
I got to give you more homework because clearly you have all this free time.
I had
during
4
the
hours
week.
of driving today. I had a lot of stuff.
Oh my God!
I want Big Bird to break a hip. I want him to be in the Big Bird house.
Well, he would be in the sanitarium because he has that imaginary friend.
Oh, this is
Oh.
degrading very fast.
So the
ladies and gentlemen.
Snuffleupagus, they put him on antidepressants. Stuff like that.
No, he's imaginary.
Snuffleupagus is not imaginary. We all can
Yes,
see
he
him.
is.
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna reel this back into
No,
the
Oscar.
podcast here. Come on now.
I have one more.
All right,
We finally discover why Oscar the Grouch is a grouch. You know why?
Ebola.
He's not been laid.
Wow, you guys are evil. No, we finally find out that what happened is that his wife had an affair with Cookie Monster, and
Diabetes.
yeah, from diabetes. And then his wife and kids left him, and then he lost his job, and he lost his mortgage on his garbage can, and now he's living in a cardboard box down by the river. I think this thing would just be score big on TV. I think the kids would love it.
All right. Well, I know now to give you more
My
homework
kids
during the
would not
week.
like it.
Your kids. Are you the one that took away all the candy from the kids last week, Adam?
Dad tax is not stealing.
All right.
All right. I
don't
have
understand.
I have a relevant story that has to do with fish, so we don't have hard tangents.
Oh, wow.
So this week, one of our listeners on Discord was telling me a story of how he's trying to teach his friend more about fish because he's getting into fish, right? He's his personal guru. So he asked, I heard a term on a YouTube video called culling. What's culling? And he sat down and explained it to him. Well, they have these fish when they're born, right? Say you have 100 in a batch. They pick the ones that don't swim right, that have, some sort of disability or the fin didn't grow right, and then they just kill them. And he described it as killing disabled children.
Wow.
Right. So public service announcement, bad way to do it, also hilarious.
We heard
You're not wrong, but it's slightly more humane than that.
There's a lot of snowflakes out there crying right now because of you.
Right. So to get properly
Okay,
informed,
boomer.
join our
Oh, Lord.
join our Discord. Again, aquariumguyspodcast.com. And quick shout out to the people on the Discord. Some of our usuals. Got Skilla, Resi Desi, Danielle, Zinix, Elroy, and of course,
Mr. Pickle.
Mr. Pickles.
Yes.
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickle is one of our first listeners who is a young gentleman from Canada. And we feel bad for him because we're from Minnesota and it's colder up there than it is here.
Yeah.
For the moment.
For the
Give it
moment.
time.
Yeah.
All right. So we got through some questions. And just want to remind you, merch stores out there, this time's running out. Like, we got to put a clock on this. If we don't get enough people buying the merch, I won't do the crop top if it's past December 31st.
And let's set the timer now. Oh, it's over.
Oh, it's over? No,
Yeah.
no, we're going to wait till
Nobody
December
wants to see you in a crop
31st.
top.
Again, if we have, I think it was 20 different people ordering from the merch store.
Yeah, you said if I bought 20 T-shirts, that wouldn't count.
No, it has to be 20 separate people buying from the merch store. I will wear an Aquarium Guys crop top and take a picture for you all on social media.
And so far, we've sold 2, one to Rob and one to his mom.
No, we sold more than that.
All right.
Just to make you more nervous.
All right.
But I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I don't want
You just got to get more people on there.
Oh, all right. Let's get to work.
Let's
You
let's do
You
it.
people have got nothing else to do.
Oh, I'm the one with the Cookie Monster story.
You know what? When I'm a millionaire because of this or in jail,
I swear to God, HBO's going to talk to you about this new Aquarium Sesame Street series.
Yeah.
I'm through.
yeah,
That's
Epstein
it.
didn't kill himself either, yeah.
Oh boy. All right, Dave. Excuse
Okay.
our
He's-
zaniness.
He's hung up and he's over in the corner drinking.
Yes, we are.
I'm ready to sleep.
Is that, yeah? We have that effect on a lot of people.
Well, to keep you awake, we got to get some information out of you. So, Dave.
Okay.
Again, let's start out with more about you. So, again, you own Something Fishy in Cleveland, Ohio. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I've been in business over 28 years. Started a business when I was 22. Been working in the industry since I was 15. Been the hobby for over 40 years. And, we didn't have video games back then and we had hobbies and, it became addiction, bred something, whatever it was, convicts, mollies. And then it just grew from there and I got into African cichlids. Geez, probably about 36, 37 years ago, and been hooked ever since. And I didn't want to do construction all my life or factory work, whatever. And I worked shops and different stores over the early years, and that's when I started my own and started doing the maintenance service, doing installs and aquarium servicing, and then my first pet shop. And that was a failure after 2 years and just did the maintenance. I worked as an animal control officer and then I got back into retail in 2000 and then I bought my building like 2 years later and I'm over 500 tanks, 37,000 gallons running with like 3 hatcheries.
Wow. So
yeah.
clearly you do breeding on site then. That's an incredible amount of tanks.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, quite a bit. Not everything. Everybody asks, they breed everything? No, it's impossible to breed everything. So my favorites is Fertosas from Lake Tanganyika. I have probably like 1,000 Fertosas. I breed Zaires when they do breed. And then I have all different types, Burundis, Kagomas, Mazwas, Samazis, Nangus, many variants, Makulas, Mobas, Kapampas, quite a bit.
Will
A
they
lot.
interbreed with each other? I like the
Oh,
frontosas.
absolutely. I get that question here and there. People want to buy different ones, and I'm not for that. You keep them exclusively. If you want a group, you have 5 or more in a group because they're co-species aggressive. So, and obviously a 6-foot tank is ideal. Fertosa is going to live average 10, 15 years and get up to 16 inches. My last Nangus, my 350 here at home, I had before my wild ones. My males were 18 inches. They're the size of 10-gallon tanks.
Wow.
And so they're massive. And so, yeah, I do not. I mean, if I raise some babies, if I have like Kagoma 7 bars with Burundis, well, it's pretty obvious to tell the difference because the Kagomas have 7 bars. I do have a controversial one. I don't advertise too much. I'm not breeding them yet. I'm raising several up. Is the Black Widow variant. It is not a hybrid. Everybody thinks when something's different or new, it's a hybrid. Fertosa with mist bars, mooning, or whatever, and it happens in the wild, so it's not something that's it's genetics. It happens, and typically, all my life I always wanted like perfect bars, perfect fins, straight bars, whatever. But there is some of that stuff happens in the wild with a lot of fish. So, and I guess in Europe is probably where they started. They get this like marble patterning. I think it's kind of cool. It's different, but it's a tank strain fish. It's not a hybrid like parrotfish, crossed with the red devil and Sevrum, whatever.
So 500 tanks. That's quite the outfit. You must outsource to a wholesale fish to other stores. It's not just your store, correct?
No, I have a little bit in the past. I get inquiries here and there, but I don't have the time or the manpower. That's been if anything, that's been my biggest challenge. And anybody I know that's in business, not just this business, getting reliable, dependable help has been a complete nightmare.
Is your family involved at all?
The hardest. Pardon me?
Is your family involved at all with your business?
No. My son helps here and there. My 14-year-old, like the OCA extravaganzas next weekend, so he's going to help me out, but he's looking forward to steak dinner that evening, so that's one reason he's going to help.
I will help you for a steak dinner. I'll
Right.
drive down
We
there.
go to Hibachi, get some filet mignon.
There you
go. Yeah, but no, it's me, and I have my right-hand man. It's been with me for a few years, and I have a couple other helpers. I'm looking to hopefully hire a couple more because this is busy season for us. It kicks in with the bad weather, and so the next 6 months is,
Busy
prime time.
So,
Yeah.
so where are you going to be next
So-
week if people are listening? Where will you be next week, you said?
The Ohio Cichlid Association's Cichlid Extravaganza, Cichlid Catfish Extravaganza. It's held the weekend before Thanksgiving every year, and it's at the Holiday Inn in Strongsville, Ohio. This is the 25th year. It's probably one of the biggest, best like cichlid freshwater shows in the United States. I've been to a lot. I belong to ACA, and I've been around the country and out of the country, obviously, Australia, you name it. Been around, and you got all the sellers. I mean, there's probably 300 people, 300 rooms selling fish.
And
People in other rooms. It's crazy.
right, I've been to
So-
a lot of these shows too, and it's hard for listeners, especially newbies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you have all these different breeders that come from all over the United States, and they open up their hotel room door, and they put the fish in a bag and put it on a table. Correct?
Yeah, that, or I used to do it. Now I have more people come to my shop. I do tours of the hatcheries. So I get people from Canada all over. Larry Johnson, I've gone with him to Malawi. So everybody likes to come and see the shop. I used to set up the rooms like a damn fish store. Throw the bed to the side, throw the furniture off to the side of the wall, and just put 48 10-gallon tanks in a 2x4 rack, a whole wall, and basically open a fish store in the hotel.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work for 3 days. It's fun when you're younger or whatever. Now I'm getting old and tired, and I like just people come to the shop, spend their money, they go out the door, I'm done.
Right, right. And you don't have to explain to the hotel why the floor is all wet.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, OCA hasn't had any major issues. I know in an ACA convention in Cincinnati, I think it was, someone had some half-ass rack and it collapsed, and the hotel was freaking out, the damage, the water damage and everything. But yeah, I mean, then they have a swap meet on Saturday, which I enjoy. It's like 2 hours of mayhem. There's a lot of people come for that swap meet. So
Is that
it's
every
fun.
Saturday?
I mean, no, it's the weekend before Thanksgiving every year.
Right.
This is the 25th year they've been doing it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a
it's all-
different swap meet.
No, this is the OCA. They have a swap meet on Saturday in the afternoon, like 2 to 4:30 or something.
Gotcha.
And you rent a table or a couple tables, and people just put their stuff in. And I bring stuff and like put cichlid posters and my shirt. I sell a bunch of my baby cichlid stuff. And actually, I sell donuts even. There's a local donut shop here called Jack Frost. It's like #1 in the state many years. I know the owners. I used to teach the kids at the karate school, and I sell donuts for like $2 a piece. Sometimes I make more money selling donuts than fish.
Whatever it takes. People come in the morning, they got to eat.
Write that down. I'm going to start doing that.
We're doing contact Sandy's Donuts.
We have some friends that own a store in Fargo, North Dakota, and they are known for their cichlids. And they have people that come down from Canada. They have people that come from all over the place, and they're really into cichlids. And I know they've been there many, many times and stuff. And the last time Jeff and Nancy were up there, I said, "Hey, how was the show?" He goes, "I was in more hotels than any whore in that town in the last freaking 15 minutes." He goes,
Wow.
he said, "I was in 30 rooms in 15 minutes to see what people had."
Well,
Yeah,
awesome.
It's fun. It's crazy. I'm looking forward. I'm excited. And like I have Jay Wilson, that's popular on social media. He's with Fritz. So we're doing like an open house on Thursday from like 2 to 5. And I think we're going to get some pizza for customers, talk about the product, whatever, and give some stuff away. And so it's fun. But, by the time Sunday night, I'll be done and over and ready for Thanksgiving Day for a partial day off, I guess, because I still work on every holiday. So
Yeah, we had a few weeks back, we had Steve Rubicki from Angels Plus, and he said he can't remember the last time he's had a full day off. He's in the hatchery every single day, including Christmas, his birthday, and New Year's.
We were picking
Yeah,
on him that
I've-
you have to milk the cows.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like,
There's no day off in this business.
and the
Not with the amount of stuff I have, the money and livestock, and yeah.
and
It takes 2 hours to feed at the main shop in the hatchery. Then I have another building a mile away from the shop that I raise fish also.
so if our listeners are want to somehow get some fish from you, how do you sell through the internet? Do you sell just through your shop? How can they grace you with their money?
Unfortunately, I have not shipped any fish this year back to we've been busy, which it's good, retail wise. And then I'm a small operation. I'm big, but I'm not. But I don't have it's doing the internet thing, and shipping is a whole nother animal.
Absolutely.
I've shipped as far as Hawaii. I've shipped in the United States multiple times, livestock, dry goods, but I'm just not. Just not enough time in a day right now. And people ask a million questions, want a million pictures. Sometimes I don't buy. Can you hold it for 2 weeks till I get my paycheck? No.
Yeah.
It's like you got crazy customers locally. You just open up the can of worms of a billion crazy people in the United States, and they just think you're open 24/7. And then you're dealing with the postal service, whatever. You hear the horror stories, you've dealt with it yourself, either bringing fish in or shipping fish out.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I'm missing the boat. I know it would be a lot. I could sell everything I have in probably a week because I'm well known. I don't, just everybody tells me, and I get people ask from other countries. I've had, Germany, Africa call me wanting to buy my fish, and it's like, holy crap. So it's back and forth about taking it to that level. But, do I want to go that big? Of course I want to make more money. But then do I want the more headaches? Am I going to have the people power because I'm only one person,
Right.
There's only so much I could do.
I totally understand because I've been in the wholesale business many, many, many years, and I've dealt with the flippin' airlines and I'm not going to badmouth the airline.
It rhymes with schmelta.
It does. Okay, thanks for saying it.
I'm here for you.
Oh, man. And I was just, Robs and I went up to Schmelta on Monday and picked up a load of stuff.
So it was pretty cute. I went in there, right? They look at me, and then they look at Jim and have a completely white face all of a sudden, and they call him by name, which no airline associate does. "We'll get your package right away, sir." I'm like, what happened?
I had an instance here about 3 months ago. I got there. They said, well, the person that does cargo went home early, and we can't give your stuff till tomorrow. And I'm sitting there with $3,000 worth of stuff. I lost my mind, and I made her cry. I made her cry.
She deserved it.
Good.
I made her cry, and then the manager came, and then the security came, and I told Barney Fife, the security agent, that he better get more help because I'm going to lose my effing mind. And
Barney Fife is old and small.
Yeah. And anyway, they finally got me my stuff, and now the last 10 times I've been in there, they've gotten me out pretty darn quick.
First name basis.
Yes. And she doesn't cry as much.
I've had know what you're talking about.
They don't care. They do not care.
I hate. I had about 25 boxes, and it looked like someone played hockey with the tow motors. I was so freaking pissed. And they give you the runaround. I email, and you do all this stuff, and they just. It's a long, drawn-out thing until you finally give up. I mean, I had like $600-700 in shipping, and it was. Oh man, yeah. You don't get me started on that shit, man.
I picked up a box one time that and and you're going to back me up on this, Dave. I know you are. The fish that are dead are always the most expensive thing that you ordered every single time. And I had
Murphy's Law.
yes, and I had a box with a hole in it, one side and out the other, and they go, "Yeah, it came in like that." And I says, "That's funny. It matches your freaking forklift tine perfectly." As I stood there and put the the box up to the forklift tine.
Right.
And this is back before 9/11, when I actually could go in the back of Schmelta Airlines.
Not anymore.
Can't go back there anymore. And anyway,
Not unless you help them with a dead body.
yeah. And son of a gun, if it didn't take me, and I'm not kidding you, it took me about 120 days to finally get paid. And the one bag of fish, and it was about $180. And I wasn't going to let it go. I just became rabid at that point. And I thought, if I have to go out here and steal $180 worth of napkins and, from Schmelta Airlines.
You tried to do the toilet paper, but they have those lock cases.
Yeah,
So
I
you
can't.
just had to like unroll it and then
Yeah.
kind of put it in your bag.
I don't blame you. I'm still bitter. Before I die, I'm coming back as karma.
Yeah.
We're
I don't know.
as a death wish, we're just gonna go in the front and leave a deuce right in the entryway.
But leave it on the weight, the where you drop the boxes, wherever you weigh your boxes when you walk in. Just
Right.
leave one right there.
Squat a pop there.
You want to weigh out that turd right there.
Excuse me, am I overweight, ma'am? Go ahead and just take some off for me, why don't you?
You know what? We're going to do this because we've had so many people on this podcast that have absolutely just hate the airlines. So I'm going down there to take care of his person, and he's going to come up here to Fargo. We're going to get Steve Rubicki to go somewhere else to take. And we're all going to go over and just, repay everybody's debt for.
It's gonna go in the news. It's like some anonymous
right.
hack,
And
but
you
it's just everybody's crapping on scales.
You don't want your face, if you're from here, you don't want your face on the local news. But I don't care about Ohio. Let it rip. I don't care.
You're already on the Secret Service watch
Secret
list.
Service is not.
It
happy
can't
with
get
me.
worse.
That's another story. The Secret Service does not like me.
Right. No, it was just so hilarious because I went in there and, what did you say, Barney Fife? That's what the guy
Yeah.
called him. He looked over and then saw me because you're what,
5'8" on a good day.
Right, I'm 6'2", 6'3", so and I'm not a small man either. So I'm towering above Jim, and he comes in there, and I wear shades. I have a eye condition, so I come in a big dude, big black coat, black shades next to the guy that's made the gal behind the counter cry. They were definitely staring me up one side and the other.
Yeah, I wish you had a trench coat on because then we could have made the news again.
Yes.
Lord.
And this is
Anyways.
why I don't visit you guys.
Yeah.
So
Off
off airlines, and let's just talk about
Fish.
again, your favorite is African cichlids. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, I like a lot of stuff, but my passion, I guess, would be the Rift Lake African cichlids. Fritosas, because that's a common question for years. What's your favorite fish, Dave? What's your favorite? And I say Fritosas. They get the big bump on their head. They're like big bulldogs.
a lot of personality.
I love the fish. They're like like a big bulldog to me, whatever. And I get good money out of them. That helps like them more, breeding them and selling the babies. So and I've gotten a reputation for them, so that helped. And but I like a lot of things. I mean, I got stingrays, arowanas, tiger datnoid. I have I just sold my obby puffer today, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I have plant tanks. I've had discus before. Discus were discus pretty much. So I killed more discus when I was 15 years old than I made.
Everybody goes in head first with discus and seems to fail before they get the kinks run out. So that's a normal thing.
Yeah, I killed.
They're all
I killed
all
8,000.
wild back then. So there was 3 discus. When I was a discus. There was brown, Heckel, which were my favorite,
And green.
and it was controversial, blue or green. It was one of the two, but that was it.
Yeah,
Nobody knew anything. I had Tropical Fish Hobbits magazine and an encyclopedia. That was it. Yeah.
So for some of the
and he
newer
was
trial
reading
and
it.
error.
He was reading it by candlelight. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's old like me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Hey now.
Hey, I'm in the same boat as you.
Hey, just because it's a collective doesn't mean you can't still be
Yeah.
offended, Jimmy. Come on now.
When I was in high school, I used to take notes in high school, and I used to just chip it on the with my mallet and my thing on the cave wall. Chink, 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 chink.
I didn't even have to make that joke. You're
I
making
know.
this so easy on me.
I'm ahead of you tonight.
So just to go over African cichlids as a whole, we have a lot of new listeners. So let's just go over general care and maintenance of African cichlids. So if you're gonna have someone start, what's the best variety to start with?
Oh boy. Well, usually when someone gets an African cichlids, well, we'll take it one side. They get a negative view because if you go into the chains or box stores, and assorted African cichlids are some of the worst cichlids to own. The Kenyai, the Aratus, the Johannis, Exasperatus, whatever, Chipoki, those are become Lucifers, possessed by the devil, and they want to kill everything. They want to kill you, eat the neighbor cat. So that's usually gives a black eye to the whole family of African cichlids. So I'd avoid anything that's usually assorted cichlids. Socolopi, any of that group is trouble. You have to pack those heavily to keep the aggression down, and probably have no decoration or have that thing filled to the top and bottom with so much decor, so they each have their nook and cranny, and but they're very aggressive. They're very pretty. That's one reason they sell them, because when they're babies, they're colorful right off the bat.
So when you talk about packing them in, do you mean just solid numbers, or do you...
Overstocking. So like a 55-gallon, you put like 25 of those in there, 30 of them.
And it's not 25 small. That's at size.
Yeah, I mean, most of those average 3, 4, 6 inches. Other than the crabo or the bumblebee cichlid, which is labeled, that's a big babuna, which is this zebra group. The males are black, and they could get 9 inches easy. Females are orange with the black stripes, but those get to be big. But most of those average 4 to 6 inches. But if you pack them, it's like, I use an example with customers. I said, it's like getting in the alley with 50 dudes. And they're like, you know what? This is a no-win situation. I'm just going to join you, you know?
That's a way to think about it.
Everybody has to take one punch, and that's it.
Right. It's like, okay, we'll just get along. They can't cover no set territory. There's just too many. So unless you have a big tank, the bigger the tank is, always makes it easier. The more surface area is always better. So it depends, but like a good starter, Africans usually, like, I'll just say the scenario, what we do with people starting a new cichlid tank. Like, you're my customers coming in asking this exact question.
Let's just pretend Mr. Pickles walked in, and he's 16 and he wants to do cichlids, because I know he's listening.
All right, buddy, we're on. So a 55, I prefer a 75-gallon tank. That footprint's great. So if it's just buying a new tank, budget's not too major, so we say 75-gallon. We get people to set it up. We're old school. Get it running for a couple of days. Get the temperature up 75 to 80 degrees. We want you to over-filter their tank. Do not skimp on a filter or a heater. Those are the essential things to keep them alive. So why buy $300 worth of fish and put the cheapest ass crap on there? That ass backwards, we call it. And so you go with the biggest filter you can afford. You can put on a tank, or as much filtration as possible. It just makes everything better. Easier to maintain, better for the fish, better for you. So you get that running for 2-3 days, temperature's right, everything's right, and you put your normal prime water conditioner, whatever, in there, and you come in and get your starter fish. They're non-African, so we sell a lot of them, like tiger barbs, giant danios, black tetras. They're hardy, inexpensive fish. You throw like 10 of those in there, and you let them run for about a week or so, and that helps get the cycle naturally. And then you come in and get your first starter fish. We have a list. We have a pamphlet at our counter. So we write the names down for the customer, especially if they're new into the cichlids. So we could help them and us keep track of their tanks. So when they come in, they don't come in and say, I have a blue one, orange one. They come in, they have the list, and then we know what they can go next into the tank. You put the least, wimpiest, smallest cichlid first in the tank. Anything you tend to like that's more aggressive or grows quicker should be last. You want them going into their tank. You don't want something in there that's going to be more aggressive off bat and then try to put fish into their tank. It makes it more challenging. So like electric yellow, libidochromas, rusties, ACIs, as far as Mabuna slow size, those are probably my favorite Mabuna. They're a good strain. I dove in Taiwan Reef. I definitely fell in love with them even more after that. And females are bright orange, gold. Males turn blue and black stripe, but they're not the aggressiveness of like a Kenyai. So those are good Mabunas. And then you move into peacocks. That's a popular one because of the colors. And then some of the haps, electric blues, or ovatus, or which is Azurus 2s, Borleis. I mean, it's a vast majority to choose from. But yeah, if you do it in stages, you do it right, you usually have success. if you follow our way of life of doing it, you have success.
So let's say that they started with some of the recommendations you had, and they intentionally, just to make sure that any aggression issues were taken care of, they purposely overcrowded. So number one, they have to have really good filtration, and you really stress that. But also, do you recommend using some sort of a current generation in the tank?
I mean, you can. Those wave pumps I have. I like to definitely have aeration. That to me is like a backup system. Because any of us probably know it's been in it. Power failures, the canister filter, power filter doesn't kick back on. 99% of the time, an air pump will go back on. So even just an air stone or a hidden sponge filter or something, it causes undertow, less dead spots, circulation, helps the filters work better. But you could add that, and it's in shallow waters around the reefs, islands I dove. It gets choppy. I got caught in a current, and the boat hands had to come and get me one time. Felt like I was on a treadmill 100 yards out, and I wasn't going anywhere. So they had to come and rescue me on one dive. I got caught in a current at one island, and so yeah, that could definitely help. It's not a negative thing at all.
So, because you're overcrowding, I'm assuming you keep decorations to a minimum. So, I see a lot of cichlid users have a lot of rock formations where they have caves where they can get off of some current. But I don't see a lot of weeds because, again, you want as much airspace or swim space in the tank as possible. That's correct?
Well, it depends. Like your Mbuna species are typically like reef fish. So they're hovering around in 3 to 10 meters. 10, 30 feet is like the reef, the islands, a lot of rocks, and that's where the Mumbunas are typically at, or like Tanganyika, all the julies and lamps hang in the rocks. Your predator haps and stuff like that, they're going to be at the edges or the sand where they breed, they dig their dunes. So you can do, I tell people sometimes, depending on the species and the setup, either have sometimes no decoration or a lot of it, or you do one side, heavily stone, rocked up, wood, whatever, and then you have one like swimming area, on one end of the tank, so it could vary, and it could depend on the species of the fish too.
So any other specialty care needs, or just make sure, again, temperature-wise, you want them at, 80 degrees?
Yeah, when I was diving, it was typically 78 degrees, the water temperatures. So we keep our 78, 80 typically. We do, we try to get people every other week. If they get the bigger filtration, more filtration, go every other week, do about 25% water changes. We do add salt, basically marine salt or a cichlid salt as a conditioner and a preventative medicine, basically. Diet is obviously important. We do not feed feeders. We do not feed typically high protein diets. We feed extreme. That's our main food, and then some Norfin. Some of the Tanganikans, like the lamps, julies, and stuff, we'll give them a treat of like some bloodworms or something like that. They can handle the higher protein, but most of your Malawians, we avoid the high protein, any high protein diets or stuff like that. So, in moderation, people, that's one of the biggest issues in the hobby or my maintenance service is people tend to overfeed fish. That's one of the biggest challenges, getting people to feed, correctly to the amount of fish and the size fish they have in their tank.
So going over just again for food, in the areas that we get a lot of African cichlids, it can essentially come from what we'd say, 4 lakes, Tanganyika, Victoria, Malawi, and Edward. So
Tanganyika and Malawi is your dominant. Actually, they're the rift lakes. Victoria is not really a rift lake, if I recall.
What's a rift lake, Dave?
That's formed by volcanic rifts.
Okay.
I'm no historian or scientist, but I mean, reading my old books and I kind of whatever. They say one time or another, maybe 1,000 years ago, they were part of the ocean, and then were separated at one point in history. And and some don't believe that, but there's like sponges, there's freshwater jellyfish. I've seen them. I swam in them. There's eels, there's all kinds of weird stuff, and there's actually like some sponge on some of these rocks that some of the fish actually graze on, whatever. So it's very similar. The water's very hard. They remind me of saltwater fish in a lot of ways. Their breeding behavior. I was drinking the water out in the middle of Malawi, so there's still some untouched areas there. That I mean, if you could go there, do it. I mean, it's experience of a lifetime.
So to go over
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
don't
of
know.
the history and background where these fish come from, I'd always like to mention Lake Victoria and some others. So in what was it 1920? Again, we'll just have Lake Victoria as the example because that's the one that's been most documented as far as the devastation. So
Oh yeah.
in 1920, the locals wanted to start a big fish market. It was mainly people from Europe that wanted to do this, and they wanted game fish. So the idea is they wanted to bring in a species called the Nile perch. It is a massive size bass. These things get as big as a person, well over
100 pounds, 150 pounds,
Yeah,
whatever.
holy cow.
Yeah, huge.
well over. These things get massive, and if you want to see these, you can actually Google on YouTube river monsters, and he's caught massive ones like these. But they're talking in the 1920s that they wanted to introduce these. They talked about it. It was a big debate for many years, and in 1950 they introduced tilapia to Lake Victoria, and it was pretty devastating. It destroyed a few different species, and it had an impact on the lake. But they went forward with it in 1962, 63 in that time zone. They introduced the Nile perch, and that destroyed an estimation right away of 500 different cichlid species
And what was the reason that they introduced all these fish?
for a fish market, so they could harvest these
Well-
for the locals
well,
and for game fish.
For food fish.
Yeah, well, to eat. I mean, those people. I was there, and I mean, they eat a lot. I mean, that's what they. It's everything is about that lakes.
So you've seen
Malawi,
this-
Tanganyika, whatever.
you've seen this
so
firsthand.
Victorious. Those Nile perch eat everything they can hit in their mouth. So all those indigenous species that did escape to the rocks areas and other parts of the lake were decimated. They were eaten. So they're gone
Yep.
from history. They're and I remember seeing, I don't know whose talk it was. Even the Nile perch, they've overfished so much they don't even get them that big anymore.
Right.
They just been, and it's crazy. And like in Malawi, I've seen it like firsthand. Bill Gates Foundation and Linda Gates Foundation, they donated mosquito nets to for the locals, whatever, because of malaria and all that stuff. Well, these guys got smart and sewn mega 100 yards, a mile long giant fish net, which are the size of your like brine shrimp nets, a real fine net. They catch everything. I've seen that stuff on beaches in these fishing villages, and just thousands and thousands of cichlids and catfish, babies. They catch everything. So they don't eat all of that stuff. What they do is they sunbake it, and they feed it to the chickens and the goat as feed. So they don't realize they're just destroying their whole ecosystem and their food chain. And it's sad. It's scary because the future of a lot of these lakes and what inhabits them is going to be gone probably.
Pretty bleak.
So the decimation continued, and they started seeing species for the Nile perch, the numbers decline in the late 1990s, and by 2010 they saw a massive devastation in the population. Essentially the entire ecosystem is beginning to crash. The top predator doesn't have enough stuff to feed off of, so the numbers did continually decline, and it's heavily fished. So before all this, before the introduction, it was, again, like you mentioned, a freshwater marine reef environment. It was incredible. And they had cichlids that were omnivorous, detrivores, meaning they would eat decaying scraps of anything, insectivores, planktivores, so they're literally just plankton feeders, sponge eaters. There's a huge diversity of different types of cichlids and cichlid needs and care. So yeah, you saying that it's not necessarily a high protein diet really does resonate, that not every cichlid's the same, and there used to be a ton more.
Oh yeah, it's a shame. It's sad, but that's unfortunately the third world living. So I don't know.
In the history of Lake Victoria specifically, in 1980s, I believe, they introduced water hyacinth, which is known to just spread, especially if you're in a warm climate, spread and cover everything. So that made a lot of dead spots across the lake. But it did bring out some herbivorous species around 1980 that thought were completely extinct. So there's been some documentation of it, but it's still a tragedy. I think gives a little background for the listeners. So
I didn't know that one, but that makes sense, I guess.
So you have some experience going to these lakes. So describe that for the listeners. Number one, what encouraged you? I know you love fish. It was just that love, and you decided I gotta get this done.
Did you go with a group of people?
Yeah,
or
it's a dream. You only live once, and I was like, this is what I live and breathe my entire life since I was a kid. And you always National Geographic, whatever. It's like, man, I want to, I can't believe it. And then I talked to I don't know. I got odd countings, got me with Larry Johnson, which I'll see next week. Become good friends, and how do I do this? What do I need to do? Blah blah blah. Gives you itinerary, what you need to do. You have to get all these shots and pills and go all crazy. And I flew out by myself out to meet them somewhere in Malawi, and that was we had a lady from Australia, a guy from Wales and UK, Pete Barnes, which is popular over there, and then who else? Larry. There's like an international group. So, and I just got certified finally to dive before I went on that trip, and I mean, it was awesome. It was just an experience. I just hate the traveling, all that flying. Oh my gosh, it's horrendous.
How long does it
And
take you to get there?
Oh, Malawi, I was 2014 I went, and it's whatever, 2.5 days, 2 days.
Oh my lord.
It's long. And when I was coming back, I was wanting to break out the company card, that plane was so full. I was like, I wanted business, whatever it cost, I didn't care. And I couldn't get nothing, and it was like, and when we were coming back, we went to some little airport. Fuel must have been cheap because it was like in a desert somewhere. It was kind of scary. And that's from Addis, or no, that was from Lilongwe to some desert to Addis Abas to Rome to Dulles, Washington, and Washington to Cleveland, coming back. Now Tanganyika, oh my gosh, it's about 36, 37 hours of flying, I think, or something.
So how long do you
It's
normally?
crazy.
I mean, 36 hours. I fly 3 hours to Florida and I want to kill people. Seriously.
Well, that's because you fly Schmelta.
I fly Schmelta. And
It's oh yeah. Because I met Odd and Pam Chin out of California and Chicago, because I kind of like wanted to be with them because they've been doing this for years. He's been going for 30 years. So I was like, I want to go with. They know what they're doing, where they're going, and
right. It's
and,
nice to have a wingman.
I flew with them, and we went to, oh God, trying to remember. I'm getting old. I know Istanbul, like 3 different airports, and then Tanzania, which was this little airport to get to the lodge in Kapili. It was 9-hour plus drive in a truck, SUV. So it's 3 days, 3.5 days. So it's a week of just traveling to get there. So 2 weeks of diving. We started in Tanzania, Kapili, and worked our way down to Zambia. And yeah, it was definitely an experience. I had so much footage and videos no one's even seen yet. I just haven't had time to download. I have that Jimmy, I bartering with him, so hopefully I get some YouTube stuff down the road. I just got to get all that stuff to him, and he could do his little computer magic.
See, you got to have that as a subscriber goal. Once you get X subscribers, then you'll start, leaking some of these amazing dives.
And this
Because there's so much people don't, it's a different world. I mean, it's what you see in a tank.
This is so
one thing, but seeing it live, it's awesome.
So this is like 3 weeks of actual. I mean, you're gone about 3 weeks then, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
when I went to South America, it was like 2 weeks, so that's much easier, but muddy and humid. I've been to Australia. I went to Great Barrier Reef there before, in the rainforest in Australia. So
this must cost you $3,000 or $4,000 just in airfare.
Actually, Tanganyika was cheaper than Malawi this time. Last year I went to Tanganyika. It was with the insurance. I think it was $1,350. So it was a good deal.
Wow.
For flying. And when I went to Malawi, it was with insurance was $1,750. So, but
that's
Tanganyika,
really affordable.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not horrible, other than the damn flight. So, what's the insurance? What's the insurance cover?
The insurance was, protects your like baggage and whatever.
Okay.
I mean, when you're doing an international flight, I think it's worth it. Just to have that extra coverage. What's another $100-$200? I mean, you're going that far. Have some kind of peace of mind. So yeah, I just rather try to be as safe as possible, and have some kind of backup if you lose your luggage and your GoPros and everything, and it could ruin your trip, but at least you're getting paid at the end if something happens, I guess.
Or hopefully you can find the African version of Best Buy.
No, they ain't shit. And there's no Walmart, there's no Amazon. That's why I like when I went to Malawi, I was like that thing. I think I was like the medic, because I'm like a survivalist. I
overpack.
I think if the airplane's going down, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna survive? If I'm on an island, if I'm in the water, that's my mentality. So I'm over and above usually prepared for anything that's coming. So
Yeah,
I think
in my
I think
world,
ahead.
if the plane's going down, I'm storming the bar. That's what I'm doing.
So you're looking for the little bottles on the cart. Give
That
me
is
those
right. That's
suckers.
get out of my way. I'm not going down sober.
Excuse me, sir. Take your seat.
Yeah,
Not until I get that rum and coke.
that's right.
So yeah, I
what's-
mean, but the Tanganyika, the dive trip it was 4 grand because that includes the oxygen tanks. You did get like 3 meals a day, and the boat and all that stuff. The boat hands. Malawi, it's about 2 grand, so it's less expensive to definitely go to Malawi as far as the 2 week like diving and the lodging and all that stuff. So
Is the lodging pretty primitive, or how is it?
um.
And the food?
Well, the Tanganyika, it was we camped out most of the time in little islands, so that you don't sleep that good. I didn't sleep that good. You know, they had tents for you, and I had a guy, he's Lithuanian. We called him T-Bone, but he's got this crazy name. He was a character, and so they set these tents for us, whatever, when we stayed, but hot. I mean, like dry, hot heat. So it wasn't like the most comfortable. And the one island we stayed on going there to Zambia, then coming back, and these stupid, they're not monkeys. They have the big eyes like Gizmo or something. Those stupid things screamed all night
Howler
long.
monkeys?
No, howler
Yeah,
monkeys are from South.
not
I was
howler
gonna say
monkeys.
that's not in the
They're
right
like these-
country.
Baboons.
Bigfoot.
No, they're not bamboos. They're like little mini things with big eyes. I can't remember their names. But like
Eyes?
Lemurs.
they have huge eyes at night.
Lemurs.
And no, they're like little gizmos. If you remember the movie Gizmo or
I think
something.
you're thinking of eye. They're relatively small, giant, like big fat eyes.
There's like one behind our like campsite, like back in the mountain or the tree or somewhere, and the other one was on the other end, and those two screamed at each other all night long. I wanted to kill them.
Maybe they're looking
Screaming
for
like-
love.
Yeah, they're screaming like girly teenagers. Oh my
Yes,
God, like, oh
it's an
my
eye.
God.
That was a pretty good impression
Wait,
right
they're
there.
from Madagascar. Eyes are from Madagascar.
Are they? I thought they were from
Yeah.
Africa as well.
They're not in Africa.
I'm
Darn,
thinking-
it's going to
Bush
be a
babies.
mystery forever.
I'm going with Bigfoot.
No, I'm looking it up right now.
We have Bigfoot in Minnesota.
That's it. I got to watch more National
Bush baby.
Geographic.
That's what it is.
Bush babies. You guys don't know nothing.
Bush babies.
This ain't National
what they're
Geographic,
called.
boys.
These names are getting weird.
Yeah, it's Bigfoot.
So what's some of the coolest stuff that you found while diving? I'm assuming you're just sitting there diving going, I know that species, I know that species.
Hey,
I
somebody's
know
car
that
keys.
species." Oh, car keys. There's a dead person there.
Especially in Zambia, there was, a lot of illegal fishing, and he found these gill net and just all kinds of cichlids stuck in these nets going, 50 feet, 100 feet.
Did you
nets
save any?
And catfish. Oh no. I mean, I got video of it, and they're dead. Most everything is dead already. It's been there. They put them in for days and just leave them down there and catch whatever. But, seeing some fish that were huge, you didn't realize they can get that big even. Like some Julia Chromis. I mean, I wanted to take so many fish home. I was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful Cylindricus I've ever seen. And what was surprising was the shell dwellers, which are very popular now in the hobby. You have to go 50 feet to 100 feet to see shell dwellers. I thought
Really?
they would be more shallow, and no, they are deep fish. I was hitting 50, 60 feet to see shell dwellers. So, and seeing like a multifasciatus, thousands of them, like a 20 by 20 foot area, just a graveyard of shells and just a million little multifasciatus shell dwellers everywhere. It was so cool. So, and then the eels, like oddball stuff, you see crabs and catfish, but the eels, I have a big fire eel in my display tank at the shop that's about 30 inches, but seeing like black ones and leopard looking ones and striped ones and brown ones and different sizes, it was like, wow. I never knew that was so many variations of these types of eels in Tanganyika that I don't see those shipped in to the hobby hardly ever.
So how do
You
they
know?
get permits to see if they could, even for just research purposes or protecting a species, like making to take them out of the lake and try to do captive breeding?
I think, well, there was Toby, I can't remember his last name. He had the place in Zambia. He's one of the first original like exporters. And there was an accident. He got partially paralyzed, I guess, and moved back to Europe or something. There was a college young guy was monitoring the island, and there was a couple colleges, and they'd come like a couple times a year. They had their own boats there, and they had some breeding programs like the Tropius mazwa, and they're like extinct in the wild from overfishing, collecting, and stuff. And they had like pools, like ponds, 4 or 5 of them, and they were absolutely gorgeous. So there's some effort reintroducing repopulating certain areas of stuff that's been overfished. In Tanzania, it's definitely more controlled. You didn't see like so many fishermen. Under Chris Horsfield that owns Lakeshore Lodge. That's who our host was, and the Tanzanian's been more proactive and stopping illegal fishing and stuff like that, and illegal trade. So, and the populations are rebounding, coming back. So, there's some effort, but Tanganyika is the second largest fifth deepest lake in the world. It's hard to imagine till you're there how big how big these lakes, rift lakes are. They're massive.
And they're very deep, right?
Oh, super deep. I mean, I got earaches twice, which sucked. So that kind of slowed me down. I know Mattia, the Italian guy, and T-Bone. I think one of them went 150 deep. I know Ad was getting 100, 120 feet. That's crazy deep down there. And they only got 5 minutes, of time pretty much before your tank's spent. So you go down there and they got the fan. I didn't have big fancy camera work like those guys do, and they're coming out with pictures of Gnathochromis, Promalaxolaris, Busheri, certain stuff that I did not see at 60 feet, whatever. You had to go really deep to see some of these species.
Yeah,
So,
much further than that, you have to use Trimix for diving.
yeah, that's getting us serious. I'm not a advanced diver or anything. But yeah, they were yeah, they were done. Once they did one dive, we do 2, 3 dives sometimes in a day. But when they did a couple of those times, they went, hit that 100 feet plus. They were spent for the day. They couldn't be going down anymore. So
How's the clarity of the lake?
it depends. Most of the time wasn't bad. It was nice when the sunlight was really out because it gives that shimmering off the rocks. I mean, there were some beautiful spots. Then if it was like windy, obviously it was stirred up a little bit more murky. So it varied from location to location. So one fish I did see that, Frontosis was one of my main ones. And the next one would be the Bullagechromis microlepsis, or the emperor cichlid, which is the largest cichlid in the world, up to 40 inches and 30 pounds. And I've been raising those fish for about 19 years, I guess. So it was great to see those fish in the wild, definitely.
So, not to get off the subject, because this is fascinating, I would be absolutely screamed at by our listeners if we didn't get a bit into breeding. So clearly you have a variety, or have attempted to have raise at least as many African cichlids as you can. So what are the different forms of breeding that some of these African cichlids handle?
Well, on the Malawi side, it's they do a good portion of the work for you because they're mouth brooders. And when the females, you could have a male like peacock or hap or like a mubuna, and you could have multiple females to a male, which is ideal. So there's not singular aggression toward one female, because some of these fish can be definitely high in domestic violence. And the male's typically always ready, and he gets the female when she's ready. They do their love shack shimmy, I call it, and they'll breed on a flat surface rock or angled rock or a sand pit, and she'll lay a number of eggs and pick them up, and she'll go near his anal fin, which they have ocelized like egg spots, and they're like dummy eggs, and he fertilizes the eggs within the mouth, and then she can hold them, up to 4 weeks before she totally releases them, and they're free swimming, fry, and then they're on their own. Then you get to the Tanganyikans, you have some mouth brooders like Frontosis, Petralis, Tropheus, and stuff like that. Those are mouth brooders. Then you get into the Lamprogotus, Alta Lamprogotus, Calvis. Some of them are like shell dwellers, cave spawners, and it's usually more of a bonded pair on some species. And male female, they dig their cave or their pot or whatever, and they lay their eggs, and then they hatch in a few days. And most of them are usually good parents, and they'll tend to the fry. It's like a big family thing, and chase everybody else away, and they'll raise the fry. Sometimes I eat them, makes it challenging. Then I have to take them out and raise them myself because the parents are not being good parents or whatever the case is.
And that matches like some of our native sunfish, if I'm correct, where they
Yeah,
actually
I
build the
mean,
nest.
I'm not a native fish expert, but I used to go fishing a lot, and I always looked. I used to go and watch the actually fish spawn, bass, whatever. I used to keep native fish actually in my tanks. I've had northern pikes and you name it. I've had just about everything, and it's interesting because I consider them cichlids. Basically, their behavior, colors, and very similar to cichlids in general.
That proceeds the question: have you ever had a sunfish with cichlids?
Personally, I don't think so. I probably had a bluegill. I had pumpkin sea sunfish before. I had smallmouth bass. I had largemouth bass. Yeah, I don't think I mixed my natives with too much. I mean, when I was younger, my teens, I might have. Knowing me, I've always did because I only had so many tanks. I had 33 tanks set up in my parents' basement before they kicked me out. So
And you were 12 when they kicked you out?
no, I was yeah, it was later, but I ended up with 33 tanks in my parents' basement. So I was breeding fish for tosas. I was wholesaling cichlids basically out of my basement because back in the day there was a pet store every 5 square miles. So first it was just to pay for the hobby, and next thing you know, I was making money,
Yeah.
pimping my fish.
And it's a lot easier to make money when you're in your mom and dad's basement, not paying the electricity bill and
Oh yeah,
and not paying rent.
right.
That's
It
much.
was the
So that's my
good old days.
that's my recommendation to everybody is even if you're 30 years old, go back to your parents' house, do it there, let them pay for the electricity,
Oh, my
water,
gosh.
sewer, and all that.
So, on the mouth brooder side, do you ever, because I see people that actually mouth brood eggs, do you ever take the eggs out and put them in a hopper?
I personally do not use egg tumblers. I actually have a couple. I use the regular spec jars, and typically when I strip the females, it's usually 10 to 14 days. I note it on the tank when I notice the mouthfuls, and we strip them 10, 14 days, and they're usually heads and tails. They're almost like popcorn. That's usually the ideal time to strip them because if they're just eggs, like I pulled a Kagoma for Tosa last week. I had 3 females. This one, they were eggs. And I'm like, that's a pain. Then I use like methylene blue, highly aerate them with the air stone and hatch them. But that's not always successful. If they're heads and tails, it's the easiest to get them out of the mouth. If you pull them late, they're already free swimming. A lot of times the fry are trying to swim back up in the mouth or back in the throat. So it makes it challenging. It's more stress on the fish, and I'm cussing more trying to get the fry out of her mouth. And, so 10, 14 days is usually my mark, unless it's something more challenging like I have rare pindus down in Patia, pindu from Crater Lakes, and I don't know, they're not doing well. They're not holding the fry. It's like 3, 4 days are gone, so I might actually have to start yanking the females and doing it myself. Have to try to raise their egg, use a tumbler to get some successful spawns out of them.
So, how do you get egg or fry out of one's mouth? What's the process?
Um,
Just pick them up, open their mouth,
Well,
and hope for the best?
I usually have the containers ready, and I go to the floor. From experience, you don't want to do it at the top of the tank because she slips out of your hand, boom, hits the floor. Then you get fry splattered all over the floor. It's all messy, and so I get all my containers. If it's multiple females, I'll have a small bucket ready with the tank water, and I'll go through each female, look in the mouth. If they look like they're heads and tails, I strip them. If they have eggs and she's not a spitter, I throw her back into the main tank. But usually I throw all the females in the bucket, go through them, and get all my containers. And then I go to a top of tank where I have a rack, and we use paint marker, and we mark the tanks and clip the air. And once they're free swimming, it's like basically assembly line every week. So I just move stuff today. So they go into a 5-10 gallon tank, and when they start growing out, then they move into a 29-gallon tank or a 75-gallon tank. And depending on the supply and demand, I'll move them into my other building. My biggest grow is 450 gallons, 350 gallon, and lots of 125s and 75s. And I just pump them. They're just getting moved tank to tank, whatever, and then once they're sellable size, they go right back to the retail store, and it's never ends.
So what do you feed fry? Because some cichlids can be a little bit larger. You still do brine shrimp, that whole method?
Nope, don't do any brine. I'm allergic to brine shrimp, so I avoid it.
You're what? Allergic?
Oh, I've heard
Yeah,
that before.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. Yeah, I'm allergic to seafood, shellfish. So, yeah, avoid it. I make my own blend of fry food. I've used like New Life in the past. But I actually go through a coffee grinder. I sell the food because people keep asking when I feed. I get like the shake from the krill. I have like big cans of like freeze-dried krill, and I'll use the leftovers of that and like the extreme monster pellets. Like you have the powder. And I'll use I use everybody's stuff. I mix it all into a thing and put it through a coffee grinder, and I make it into a fine powder. So
I'll have
I
to
do
give
my
that a
own
try.
blend.
See that if that works for other fish, because I've never seen a whole lot for smaller fish that works because it's kind of getting in your mouth. But if you're doing to a powder, you always see like that Hikari baby powder. It really doesn't. It's hit and miss. It works for feeder guppies, but feeder guppies. It works for
Endlers?
any guppies,
Endlers.
but
Endlers are their own thing.
I suppose.
Give it a rest, jeez.
But no, I'll have to give that a try. I've never said
Yeah,
success. So
I use spirulina flakes. I use some of the North Fin's vegetable. And I'll use extreme. I actually throw catfish scrapers in there. I just make this big. I put a big hop thing, and then I start putting it through the espresso coffee grinder, and I make my own fine powder fish food.
So not to get away from the food and babies, but another thing on the list is pH. So generally I've heard that a lot of African cichlids can stand really high pH conditions. I'm assuming that's not correct for all fish, like all African cichlids, right?
Well, as far as I know, I think it's supposedly Tanganyika can be like 9.2 or something.
That's
Ridiculous.
battery acid.
Yeah, it's like liquid calcium or something. I don't know. Cleveland tap water here is naturally on the hard side, around 7.6, 7.8. So I don't test water. I hardly ever test. I test people's water, and usually I ask them questions and figure it out before I even test the water. Like I've been doing it so long, I can touch water and tell you what the temperature is.
I can do the same.
Yeah, it's you've been doing it like an electrician knows every color wire or whatever. It's like this is your trade. So how fish are acting and stuff like that, overfeeding, overpopulating, not enough maintenance, water changes, whatever. So I don't worry. I don't test. I mean, I like using sea chems, or not sea chem, Caribbean Sea, Ivory Coast, cichlid sand, and that is actually very close to what's in the Rift Lakes. I mean, it's so like identical because I brought some of the sand back at different beaches. I grabbed a handful, put it in a Ziploc bag as a reference, at certain places, and just seeing the grade of sand and what it looked like and the colors. And so I use mostly that, and that's like a coral-based sand part of it. So that's going to be a natural buffer. And then if you use tufa rock, coral rock, other things in there will contribute to the the water quality, whatever. So
Well, any other recommendations for listeners for cichlid care? I really want to cater because we've had a few different questions from beginners. So just to evaluate, make sure you maintain heat, you overfilter, and you overpopulate to handle a lot of the aggression cichlids can offer. You make sure to have a lot of swimming space, especially when you're overpopulating. Some cichlids require more of a rock reef environment, so have places for them to accommodate. And you recommend sand.
yeah, sand. I mean, they could do gravel. That's one thing about cichlids. The Africans, they're hardy. They're just a hardy, easier in general fish than like discus or saltwater. You can make it look like a saltwater reef tank. I've done for football players and stuff like that, and offices, hospitals, whatever. And people don't know the difference. They see all these bright blues and oranges and yellows and peacocks and stuff like that. And so they're all around a great fish you could have for the rest of your life.
Well, perfect. I want to leave listeners with one of fun facts I found in doing homework to making sure I can buff up for this interview. And one of the things I found, which I really didn't know I was called this, is the cuckoo sedantis or cuckoo catfish. Yeah. I found out that
Sedantis multipunctatus.
There you go. You even had the full-on name. You can look on videos on YouTube. You can certainly just type in the cuckoo catfish, and National Geographic even has a old video of this happening. I'll let you tell the story.
Oh, it's great. Jules of the Riff. That's a great video. You can still find it online. And what it is, they also call it like the parasitic catfish. And what it does, these catfish, when they pair and the female is ready with egg, they found a mouth-brooding cichlid, and they follow them. And when the mouth-brooding cichlid, the female deposits her eggs, she's frantically picking up her eggs. And the catfish, I mean, it's quick, and they go in and he fertilizes and drops her eggs right in the middle of the spawning of the mouth-brooding cichlid. So, and she's frantically picking up all these eggs, not realizing she's picking up a foreign fish's eggs as well. And so she's harboring these eggs and she's protecting them within her mouth, not realizing she has a parasitic catfish. And the catfish develop very quickly within her mouth, and they start eating the eggs or the baby cichlids within the mouth. And she's raising these catfish up as her own. She's like a surrogate mother, and when I first time I bred them, that was in the 90s. I was like shocked. It was so cool though. It was very interesting.
So the crazy part of this is the mother does not care even when they're growing and all her normal babies are gone. There's no differentiating between the catfish and her babies. So even when they're brooding and they're free swimming, she'll, if something comes close, she'll put them back in her mouth. She'll protect them as their own through the entire process.
And they don't harm.
Yeah.
They don't harm the mother at all.
Not until they get big enough where they can try to nip, but no.
Are you listening, Adam?
Yeah.
You've got 4 kids. You should just drop them off somewhere and then pick them up in 10 years. There you go. Save some
Is
money.
that how that works?
Just
So
basically,
your house, Jim?
when they're picking them up from a soccer field, you have to swap minivans so they take their kids with yours.
That's right. Stick some soccer mom with your 4 kids, and then that'll save you a lot of money raising them up, and then just pick them up 10 years from now.
Okay.
I'm just trying to help.
So the species, according to Wikipedia, because Wikipedia may be wrong, was 1898 when the cuckoo species was discovered, and they found that to be the trait. So I'm assuming that the cuckoo name came from the cuckoo bird, which did the same thing. It just, again, stole all the eggs from the nest, put her eggs in, and the bird raised the eggs for them. It's a crazy feat of nature. Certainly check out the videos online.
That sounds really
Oh
cool.
yeah, that's cool.
Well, is there anything else that you have for us that we think we missed?
Not at this point in time.
All right. Adam, you got any questions for him?
Yeah. What would be a cichlid that you would recommend that there needs to be more of, either because it doesn't have very much following in the hobby, it's got like a good behavior, kind of like a trophy fish where
The hidden gem.
A hidden gem type
Diamond
fish.
in the rough.
Oh boy,
That's a good question, Adam.
well, it's yeah, interesting question.
And it's not the parrotfish.
It's
It's
not
more
the
cuckoo
parrot.
catfish.
Yeah.
Or the Hopocaris pacificus, the true parrot cichlid. I have those also. That's a nice fish. Well, you know what? I still have convicts actually. Old and tried and true. I mean,
I bet you have more than one.
Absolutely. I got a few. They're good dither fish for the big mean fish. Well, I mean, like Burundi frutosas, they're kind of like fallen to the wayside. They're like kind of the originals, and everybody jumps on this bandwagon. What's new? What's the hip fish? What's the rare fish? I think part of it's because people think it's dollar signs, and they think they're going to breed this fish and be millionaires. But some of the old tried and true fish, give them a break. They're just as good and nice as some of the newer fish. It's like, don't forget them. That's kind of one of those things. It's like, I love all frutosas, but Burundis, I mean, you could get them cheap. I sell them for $9-10 a piece all day long in the store. So a starter Frontosa Tanganyikan that lives a good long time, and it's like having a pet dog. Some people train them to eat out of their hands. There's a lot. I mean, there's so much, endless. I mean, there's a lot of rare stuff that I like to see people breed, like the Gnathochromos, Permalaxolaris. I'm on my 3rd attempt trying to breed them over the years, and so far I haven't had success.
Well,
Yeah,
I
don't know.
appreciate the info, and we'll have listeners certainly look that up. But if they want to look you up, again, your website is somethingfishyinc.net. Certainly
Yes.
go on there and apply for a job. You have upcoming postings.
Yeah, Facebook is somethingfishyinc.net too. So that's usually my go-to social media. I do have Instagram. It's one Aquabeast.
You have a
do like
YouTube?
the live show. YouTube, it's Something Fishy Inc. Also .net. There's like 2 of them, but the one that has the most subscribers, go to that one. I can't transfer. I'm not a technology buff, but I can't move one to the other, I guess. So The one I'm building up, I'm at 152 right now. But I do some like videos. I just posted one from a maintenance yesterday, just a little clip of me a maintenance count I do. So I'll do stuff of the hatcheries here and there, and pick out a fish or specific and talk about that sometimes. And so I do show and tells on the Facebook. I do live on Tuesdays, usually afternoons, and Saturday mornings. I do rants. People, I want to start my own show, just rants. People seem to like my rants about business or hobby sometimes.
Start with the Schmelta episode. It works every time. Also,
Right.
To remind them, meet you up at the Cleveland Swap. More information on that.
Ohio Cichlid Association. Look it up on, just Google it. OCA, Ohio Cichlid Association. They have obviously like a Facebook page, and it's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate all your time, Dave. It was quite kind of you doing this last minute, and we'll probably have you back on the show if we can sneak you away.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right. Well, just to remind everybody, certainly subscribe to this to get a push notification to your phone, and above all else, share this with a friend and buy a T-shirt so I can humiliate myself online publicly.
Oh yeah, we need to see that.
Oh, so much, so much. All right, let's kick that outro.
Thanks, guys, for listening to this podcast. Please visit us at aquariumguyspodcast.com and listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
We're practically
Thanks.
everywhere. We're on Google. I mean, just go to your favorite place. Pocket Casts. Subscribe to make sure it gets push notifications directly to your phone. Otherwise, Jim will be crying in his sleep.
Can I listen to it in my treehouse?
In your treehouse, in your fish room, even alone at work.
What about at my man cave?
Especially your man cave.
Yeah.
Only if Adam's there
No.
with feeder guppies.
No.
They're endless.
You midget loving sucking motherfucker.
Well, I guess we'll see you next time. Later.